Hopefully everyone can hear me. Round one, question one. Give any year that the man remembered as Charlemagne ruled as King of the Franks. Give any year that the man remembered as Charlemagne ruled as King of the Franks. Question two. In 2020, which West African country did, and forgive my pronunciation here, did Alassane Ouattara, 78, formally announced that he would not run for a third term as president, even though he recently modified constitution appeared to allow him that possibility? In 2020, in which West African country did Alassane Ouattara, 78, formally announce that he would not run for a third term as president, even though a recently modified constitution appeared to allow him that possibility? Question three. In which city in northern Italy will you find both the Sforza Castle and the church and convent of Santa Maria del Grazie, the Holy Mary of Grace, both of which feature interior walls painted by Leonardo da Vinci? In which city in northern Italy will you find both the Sforza Castle and the church and convent of Santa Maria del Grazie, both of which feature interior walls painted by Leonardo da Vinci? So this was me writing that word up, hopefully earlier on the board for you. Apologies again that you couldn't hear Jane and you're having to deal with me reading the questions. Question 4. Put to death on the orders of Herod Agrippa I, who is the only apostle whose martyrdom is recorded in the New Testament. So, put to death on the orders of Herod Agrippa I, who is the only apostle whose martyrdom is recorded in the New Testament. Question 5. Which 20th century US president pursued a liberal domestic reform program called the Fair Deal? Question 6. Examples of what epic form of painting can be seen in places such as Den Haag in the Netherlands, outside the old walls in Constantinople, and on the site of the Battle of Waterloo in Belgium? Examples of what epic form of painting can be seen in Den Haag in the Netherlands, outside the old walls of Constantinople, and on the site of the battleground of Waterloo in Belgium? Question 7. What is the apt name of the US military's massive hospital ship, that was moved to New York's Harbor area to ease pressure on the city's regular hospitals during the COVID-19 crisis? What is the apt name of the US military's massive hospital ship that was moved to New York's Harbor area to ease pressure on the city's regular hospitals during COVID-19 crisis? It's the last question of the round, I believe, so give you a couple of minutes to finalise your answers. I'm going to hop onto Facebook quickly in case any of you have any questions. Okay, answers to round one, folks. Question one. Give any year that the man remembered as Charlemagne ruled as king of the Franks. You can have between 1768 and 1814. Famously crowned Holy Roman Emperor by the Pope in 1800. In 800, not 1800. Question two. In 2020, which West African country did Alassane Ouattara formally announce that he would not run for third term as president? That's Ivory Coast. Côte d'Ivoire. Question three. We were looking for a city in northern Italy where you'll find the Sforza Castle and the convent Santa Maria del Grazie. That's Milan. Question four. Put to death on the orders of Herod Agrippa, who was the only apostle whose martyrdom is recorded in the New Testament? The answer we're looking for there is Saint James. James, son of Zebedee, brother of John, James the Greater. I'll accept any of those answers. Question five. Which 20th century US president pursued a liberal domestic reform program called the Fair Deal? The answer there we're looking for is Harry S. Truman. Truman will do. Question six. Examples of what epic form of painting we were looking for that was seen in Den Haag, Constantinople, and the Battle of Waterloo in Belgium, and that's cyclorama, panorama, also known as rotunda. We are not accepting military battle art, since this only the second and last of those mentioned depicted warlike themes. The answer to question seven, what was the apt name of US military's massive hospital ship? We are looking for USNS Comfort, or TAH-20. USNS Comfort. We will also accept TAH-20. Okay, give yourselves a little while just to run through that, and then we'll start round two. Okay, folks, here we go. Round two, question one. Civilization. An Anglo-French project which supersonic aircraft made its maiden test flight from Toulouse on the 2nd of March 1969. An Anglo-French project which supersonic aircraft made its maiden test flight from Toulouse on the 6th of March 1969. Question 2. The enclave containing the District of Columbia is located in the western portion of which US Atlantic coast state, bordering West Virginia? Read that one again for you. The enclave containing the District of Columbia is located in the western portion of which US Atlantic coast state, bordering West Virginia? Question 3. The noun Buddha, meaning enlightened or awakened one, originated in what old Indo-Iranian language? The noun Buddha, meaning enlightened or awakened one, originated in what old Indo-Aryan language? I'm going to write that down just in case I'm pronouncing that hideously. Hopefully that will help. Just had a text from my sister and the next piece of technology's fallen over on her. She's teetotal, but I think fairly soon she's going to be driven to drink. Bless you, Jane. Keep going. Question 4. A national capital, which city in North America was formerly called Bytown? B-Y-T-O-W-N. A national capital, which city in North America was formerly called Bytown? Question 5. Written circa 300 BCE, which great Hindu epic tells how its hero, aided by his kinsman and the monkey god Hanuman, rescue the titular character's wife from the clutches of the many-headed demon god of Lanka? Apologies, I haven't seen these questions before. I'm reading to you live now, so I'll try that one again. Written circa 300 BCE, which great Hindu epic tells of how its hero, aided by his kinsman and the monkey god Hanuman, rescue the titular character's wife from the clutches of the many-headed demon of Lanka? Question 6. In 1910, what Viennese-born German revivalist, poet, and nationalist ideologist suggested the swastika as a symbol for all anti-Semitic organizations? In 1910, what Viennese-born German revivalist, poet, and nationalist ideologist suggested the swastika as a symbol for all anti-Semitic organizations? Final question for this round, question 7. Now measuring 1,435 millimeter and applicable to about 60% of the world standard, also known as normal or Stevenson, is widely used what? now measuring 1,435 millimeters and applicable to about 60% of the world standard, also known as normal or Stephenson, is a widely used what? Okay, that's the end of that round. I'll just give you a couple more seconds just to confer. Got 50 teams playing tonight. When will you finish? Okay, answers to the second round. Question 1, which Anglo-French project was it that had the supersonic aircraft? And that was Concorde. Concorde 001. The enclave containing the District of Columbia, we were looking for Maryland. Maryland. The noun Buddha, meaning enlightened, originated in what language? And that's Sanskrit. We will also accept classical Sanskrit. Question 4, the capital city of North America we were looking for, formerly known as Bytown, was Ottawa. Answer to question 5, written in circa 300 BC, which great Hindu epic we were looking for is Ramayana, Ramayana. Thanks, Brian. We're trying our very best. The answer to question 6, the Viennese-born German revivalist, poet and nationalist ideologist we were looking for is Guido von List. Guido, G-U-I-D-O, von List, L-I-S-T. And finally, now measuring 1435 millimeters, we were looking for railway gauge, G-A-U-G-E. Double O gauge is what our granddad used to have. Wouldn't let us play with his train set. It was far too precious to let annoying small children anywhere near, but used to love playing with his train set. Okay, third round, people, is the entertainment round. Question 1. Which children's fantasy novel, first published in 1937, has the alternative title There and Back Again? This century it became a big budget film franchise. Which children's fantasy novel, first published in 1937, has the alternative title There and Back Again? Question 2. Writing under the pen name C. Collodi, the Italian Carlo Lorenzi published the first installment of which world famous story in 1881, later made into the 1940s feature-length animated Disney film. Writing under the pen name C. Collodi, the Italian Carlo Lorenzi published the first installment of which world famous story in 1881, later made into a 1940s feature-length animation film? I'll write that name down. C. Question 3. Outside the world of theatre, he made the news for marrying a Hollywood icon. Which noted US playwright in 1915 to 2005 also became father-in-law to actor Daniel Day-Lewis? Outside the world of theatre, he made the news by marrying a Hollywood icon. Which noted US playwright also became father-in-law to actor Daniel Day-Lewis? Question 5. Which author of dystopian fiction wrote the 2003 novel Oryx and Crake, in which we're introduced to chicky knobs, really, Jane? Genetically modified chickens with multiple breasts and no eyes or beak. I'm going to write that down. Which author of dystopian fiction written in 2003 novel Oryx and Crake, in which we're introduced to chicky knobs, genetically modified chickens with multiple breasts and no eyes or beak? It's not April Fool's Day, right? We've missed that. This isn't some horrible joke my sister's playing on me. Question 6. At the end of which opera by Giordano does the real-life character, a poet, go to the guillotine along with his lover? At the end of which opera by Giordano does the real-life title character, a poet, go to the guillotine along with his lover? Question 7, final question of the entertainment round. Who can be seen as a movie projectionist in the film The Avatar, a cab passenger spying on his wife in Taxi Driver, and a wealthy New Yorker alongside his wife and daughter in The Gangs of New York? Who can be seen as a movie projectionist in the film The Aviator, a cab passenger with his wife in Taxi Driver, and a wealthy New Yorker in The Gangs of New York? The entertainment round, I'll give you a couple of seconds just to finish that up. If you needed any reminder of those. There, don't get that on countdown, do you? Right then, the answers. Entertainment question 1. Which children's fantasy novel had the alternative title There and Back Again? That's The Hobbit. Children's fantasy novel, The Hobbit. The world famous story that we were looking for, written by the pen name C. Collodi, was L'Avventura di Pinocchio, Storia di un Burattino, The Adventures of Pinocchio, the story of a puppet. Feeling a little bit like a puppet myself this evening. Hopefully not all of the features of Pinocchio. Answer to question 3. Outside of the world theatre, he made news marrying a Hollywood icon. The US playwright we were looking for is Arthur Miller. Daniel Day-Lewis married Rebecca Miller. Miller was the married name to Marilyn Monroe. Answer to 4. What was the name of Audrey Hepburn's iconic character in the film Breakfast at Tiffany's? It was Holly Golightly. The answer to 5, which is the dystopian fiction which author of the dystopian fiction wrote the 2003 novel? That was Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood. Question 6. At the end of which opera by Giordano does the real-life title character, a poet, go to the guillotine along with his lover? That's Andrea Cinieri. Andre Chinia. Oh, helpful pronunciation notes there, Jane. Thank you. Andre Chenier. Should have read that first, maybe. Andre Chenier. Finally, the person that we were looking for that can be seen as the movie projectionist in The Aviator and Cab, in Taxi Driver, Wealthy New Yorker, was Martin Scorsese. He had cameo roles in all of those. Lifestyle up next, folks. 7 questions. I shall try my best to read them for you. Question 1. If in a US diner you asked for Eve with the lid on, what would you be ordering? If in a US diner you asked for Eve with the lid on, what would you be ordering? Question 2. The first popular version of which modern domestic appliance was marketed in 1967 by Amana, a division of Raytheon? The first machine commercially released 1954's 1161 radar range, having been way too large and expensive for home use. The first popular version of which modern domestic appliance was marketed in 1967 by Amana, a division of Raytheon. The first machine commercially released 1954's 1161 radar range, having been way too large and expensive for home use. I'll jot a few of those down for you. Question 3. Which French title is associated with the chef next in rank below the head or executive chef, also known as chef de cuisine in a restaurant? What French title is associated with the chef next in rank below the head or executive chef in a restaurant? Question 4. What particular 2-word name in English is most commonly used to denote a person who commits a series of murders, often with no apparent motive and typically following a characteristic, predictable behaviour patterns? What 2-name word in English is most commonly used to denote a person who commits a series of murders, often with no apparent motive and typically following a characteristic, predictable pattern of behaviour? Question 5. In the years during and immediately following World War II, US Air Force pilots referred to what as Foo Fighters? In the years during and immediately following World War II, US Air Force pilots referred to what as Foo Fighters? One of my favourite bands. Question 6. The Frenchmen René Panard and Émile Levasseur were, late in the 19th century, among the first in the world to devise the familiar pattern for the layout of which machine? The Frenchmen René Panard and Émile Levasseur were, late in the 19th century, among the first in the world to devise the familiar pattern for the layout of which machines? I'll put their surnames up. Question 7, and the final question of this round. In Mexico and other Spanish-speaking countries, who or what is a campesino? A two-word answer is required here. In Mexico and other Spanish-speaking countries, who or what is a campesino? Definitely writing that one down. Campesino, C-A-M-P-E-S-I-N-O. A two-word answer is required here. It's the end of the lifestyle round. Give you, again, a couple of moments just to finalise your answers in your teams. Okay, answers, folks. In a US diner, question 1, if in a US diner, if you asked for Eve with a lid on, you'd be ordering an apple pie. Yes, please. My husband made a delicious French apple cake yesterday with a little bit of rum in. It's delicious. Question 2, the first popular version of which modern domestic appliance we were looking for was microwave oven, electronic oven, or magnetron? Microwave oven, electronic oven, magnetron. Question 2, the French title of the chef we were looking for was sous chef. We'll also accept second chef. Question 4, the particular two-word name that we were looking for was serial killer. We will not accept mass murderer or spree killer. It's a cheery question for a Sunday for you. Question 5, in the years during and immediately following World War II, US Air Force pilots referred to what as the Foo Fighters? That was UFOs, unidentified flying objects. We'll accept any obvious synonyms of that as well. The answer to question 7. Panard and Levasseur were among the first in the world to devise a familiar pattern for the layout of the automobile, motor cars, motor vehicles. System Panard, front-mounted engine and radiator and steering wheel. That's where you might know those from. The two-word answer we were looking for of who or what is a campesino. That's a peasant farmer, a farm labourer, a farm worker, an Indian farmer. Tot up your scores. If you are entering your scores, don't forget to go to quest.quizzing.com. Your team captain can put your scores in there and you'll see how you did against the other now 56 teams taking part. Hello everyone, thanks very much for joining us. Next round, physical world. Question 1. If you discount our own sun, which is the nearest star to the Earth? Again, we're looking for a two-word answer. If you discount our own sun, which is the nearest star to Earth? We are looking for a two-word name of the member of the triple system Alpha Centauri. If you discount our own sun, which is the nearest star to the Earth? We are looking for a two-word name of this member of the triple system Alpha Centauri. Question 2. What is the ordinary common name of the abundant mineral whose many varieties include chalcedony, agate, onyx, and jasper? What is the ordinary common name for the abundant mineral whose many varieties include, possibly pronounced like this, possibly not, chalcedony, agate, onyx, and jasper? I'm going to write that. Because I have not pronounced that correctly. I can practically hear my sister chuckling at me now. What's the ordinary common name for the abundant mineral whose name has many varieties, including that one, agate, onyx, and jasper? Question 3. It is Australia's third largest offshore island. Which island was named in 1802 by Matthew Flinders, who found an abundance of large animals there that belong to the family of Macropodidae? It is Australia's third largest offshore island. Which island was named in 1802 by Matthew Flinders, who found an abundance of large animals there that belong to the family Macropodidae? I'll write that one down. Question 4. Don't let the numbering of them fool you. How many B vitamins are there? Don't let the numbering of them fool you. How many B vitamins are there? Question 5. Mount Korab is the highest mountain in 2 countries. If Albania is one, which is the other? Mount Korab is the highest mountain in 2 countries. If Albania is one, which is the other? Question 6. The regular geometric solid known as an octahedron has 8 triangular faces and how many edges? You're definitely getting this one written down. The regular geometric solid known as an octahedron has 8 triangular faces and how many edges? Last question. Reflecting its diet and the name of the naturalist who first described it, which iconic marsupial species has the specific name Sarcophilus harrisi, which translates as Harris's meat lover? Much easier to say, Harris's meat lover, but here we go again. Reflecting its diet and the name of the naturalist who first described it, which iconic marsupial species has the scientific name Sarcophilus harrisi? Shall I write that one down? Yes, let's write that one down. Sarcophilus harrisi. That's your final question from this round. And then we've just got sports and games to come. give you a couple of seconds just to finish that one up, and I'll wipe my board in case there's some hideous words I have to try and pronounce again in a second. Might even change pen colours for you. No expense spared this evening. Okay, here we are. Physical world answers. Question 1. If you discounted our own sun, which is the nearest star to Earth? We were looking for Proxima Centauri. We are not going to accept Alpha Centauri, mainly because I read it out as part of the question. Proxima Centauri. The name, what is the ordinary common name given to the mineral with various other names, the agate, the onyx, the jasper, and the other one that I'm not going to pronounce again was quartz. Quartz. Question 3, Australia's largest offshore island is Kangaroo Island. Question 4, you're after how many B vitamins there are there. There are 8. B, B1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, and 12. No extra points if you actually listen. The answer we were looking for was 8. Answer to question 5, Mount Korab is the highest mountain in 2 countries. Which is the other one? If it's not Albania, it is Macedonia. Question 6. 8 triangular faces has how many edges? The octahedron has 12 edges. Question 7, the answer we were looking for here, of which iconic marsupial species? We were looking for the Tasmanian devil. Which I imagine the other half of the Quizzer Sisters is racing around, much like a Tasmanian devil, trying to fix things. Here we are, the last round. Can you believe it? Sports and games. Question 1. Taking its name from the layout of a road around a former cabbage patch and now better known as a venue for country and test cricket, which iconic sporting ground in London was the scene of the very first English FA Cup final in 1872? Taking its name from the layout of a road around a former cabbage patch and now better known as a venue for county and test cricket, which iconic sporting ground in London was the scene of the very first English FA Cup final in 1872? Seen some fine cricketing action there myself. Fantastic venue. They've stopped playing snake cups there now, so it has lost a little bit of its fun. Question 2. Which university has a fight song that goes, shouting her name forever, roar, lion, roar, for Alamata on the Hudson shore? I apologise if you went to this university. Which university has a fighting song that goes, shouting her name forever, roar, lion, roar, for Alamata on the Hudson shore? Question 3. In which first-person shooter video game by DICE is it possible to play against a roguish American pilot, an Italian special forces operative, and a Bedouin rebel under the command of Lawrence of Arabia? In which first-person shooter video game by DICE is it possible to play against a roguish American pilot, an Italian special forces operative, and a Bedouin rebel under the command of Lawrence of Arabia? Question 4. Having represented Singapore, Papua New Guinea and the USA, with what sport would you associate Paul Lim? L-I-M. Having represented Singapore, Papua New Guinea and the US, with what sport would you associate Paul Lim? I'm going to write it up just because I've got a new colour pen. Paul Lim. Question 5. Using fixed equipment such as the Brunswick Model A2 and the Jet Black, balls branded Ebonite and Hammer, and footwear made by, among others, Circle, Dexter, Etonic and Linz, which competitive game or sport are we talking about? Using fixed equipment such as a Brunswick Model A2 and Jet Black, balls branded Ebonite and Hammer, and footwear made by, among others, Circle, Dexter, Etonic and Linz, which competitive game or sport are we talking about? Question 6. The Olympic Games were held in the territory of the ancient Greek city of Elis. Where were the equally important Pythian Games held? The Olympic Games were held in the territory of ancient Greek city of Elis. Where were the equally important Pythian Games held? Greek city of Elis. Equally important Pythian. Final question of the final round. This is it. Question 7. What was the surname of the sisters Tamara and Irina, who, having won 5 track and field Olympic gold medals for the Soviet Union and set 26 world records in the 1960s, then mysteriously disappeared from international competition once genetic testing was instituted? What was the surname of the sisters Tamara and Irina, who, having won 5 track and field Olympic gold medals for the Soviet Union and set 26 world records in the 1960s, then mysteriously disappeared from international competition once genetic testing was instituted? We're looking for the surname. Let me try to spell it right now. There we go. So that's it, folks. That is your team quiz for Sunday the 5th of April. I'm going to read you back the answers in a moment. I'll just give you a couple of seconds to confer and get your answers agreed. Okay, here we are. Let's do the answers to the last round. Taking its name from the layout of the road, the cricket venue that we were looking for was the Kennington Oval, the Kia Oval, Britt Oval, Foster's Oval, Amp Oval. That's all reflecting its past and current sponsorships. The Kennington Oval. I didn't know it was around a cabbage patch, but there we are. Learned something new. The university fight song, we were looking for the University of Columbia. Colombia. First-person shooter game that you'd meet the roguish American pilot, the Italian Special Forces operative, and the Bedouin rebel was Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1. Question 4. Having represented Singapore, Papua New Guinea, and the USA, the sport that Paul Lim was associated with is darts. Answer to question 5. Using fixed equipment such as the Brunswick Model A2, we were looking for 10-pin bowling. 10-pin bowling. Question 6. Olympic Games were held in the territory of ancient Greece Elis. The equally important Pythian Games were held in Delphi. D-E-L-P-H-I. Delphi. The surname of the sisters. Final question. Surname of the sisters Tamara and Irina, who, having won all of those medals and broken all of those world records, or set all of those world records, was Press. P-R-E-S-S. And there we are, folks. I hope you all enjoyed that once we did manage to get going. And apologies again for technical difficulties. If you are wanting to put your scores in, don't forget to go to quest.quizzing.com, a different board now. I'm awash with boards. Thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit subscribe whilst you're here, because then you'll be kept up to date with all of our quizzes as we release them. We're trying to do a couple of different levels and different styles as the week goes on, just to keep you all as entertained as possible. Stay home, stay safe, stay sane. Thanks, everyone. Bye.